We have the proposal of the next.
Recording in progress.
We have the next study session about the proposal for our ARPA funds. I know Councilman wanted to know, we had revenue losses of 10 million, and we set aside some money to give back, just as a appreciation, which Councilman, I believe, Wenzel put that in almost 2 years ago. I believe former Councilman Abdul Haq was on here when we made that initial proposal of giving away, I believe it was $700. The administration upped it up to 1,000. I want you to know, initially came in as Mayor Bill Bazzi's proposal, and the reality is, this was Councilman Wenzel and former Councilman Abdul Haq's proposal. It was them two that put this proposal in. So this information, was not presented by the administration. It was actually presented by two council members, former Councilman Abdul Haq and Councilman Wenzel. It was supposed to go to a study session. I know George sends it to me often, but we never really went back in front of it. And then I requested some further information of who's getting it, who's part-time, who's full-time, if we're giving it to them, if we're not. The interim chief of staff, Mr. Vanderplow, actually gave this to me. It was very detail-oriented. I really appreciated it. And we will go from there. Mr. Deeb, my questions before we start, because I don't want to spend too much time here. I know some of the council members asked me that they had to leave. Is just tell us how many part-time employees, if we were to subtract it, if we were to leave it, are we giving it to, how many directors are getting it?
So I have the HR director with me. And again, just a quick background recall, so you know how we started with 24,314 number, the $24 million, 314, taking the $10 million for the general fund, and then trying to back into it. I'm trying to find out how much money we have left so I can commit it before the end of December. And this is why whatever we agree to tonight is the number that will give me the remainder dollars to commit. So with that.
Alrighty.
Please state your name just for the record.
Cameron Egley, HR Director.
Thank you, Cameron.
Yeah. All right, so you had asked about a breakdown of the employees. So there's 254 total employees on that list.
253.
It's okay, we're off by one.
Okay, sorry. So full-time was at 190, part-time 56, and then there was 8 seasonal on that list. So it was broken down cost-wise, full-time 241,500, part-time 56,500, and then the seasonal 8,000.
How much was it with part-time?
For part-time, 56,500.
How much was for full-time?
241,500.
I'm seeing different numbers.
Yeah, where are those numbers on here?
Because I'm seeing part-time 12,500, full-time 79.
For the fire department. Yeah, police, you're right.
Hold on. Summary.
Just repeat those again to me. Give us the numbers again.
Summary.
Yeah, so full-time it was 241,500.
Okay,
Part-time 56,500,
okay,
and then there's seasonal at 8,000.
okay.
Seasonal are like what?
Like crossing guards.
I believe they were crossing guards.
Can you tell me that? Do you have the, how many are they? How many seasonal employees?
8.
80?
8.
8?
Yep.
Does that total equal 306,000?
Yes.
Can you tell me which directors are receiving this? A list of names exactly?
I have Rick Watlin, Bill DeShroon, Kim Sauer. I had on the list that I was given Tom Roscoe and Mariana Hernandez.
Those 5?
Yeah,
Miranda Hernandez still with us?
as far as I was aware, yeah.
Okay, and there's no other directors that are receiving it?
Nope.
Mr. Deeb doesn't receive this?
Nope.
Why, he was a director with us in 2020.
What's that?
He was a director with us in 2020.
Was he? You've been
Yeah.
here since 2020?
Mr. Deeb was a director here with us in 2020.
That explains the gray hair. I wasn't told so.
Yeah, but why,
Is he here in 2020?
Okay.
Hold on. I want to know why he was like left out. Was there any other directors that
No,
were?
actually, he just wasn't pulled on that list. He is.
is
on
this
there as
list
well.
actually accurate of every employee or not?
So this is all the employees that were hired prior to the 6/22/21 and are still active.
And then my other question was to you that these people have to still be active with the city of Dearborn Heights, correct?
Correct.
So nobody that's been let go, left the city is gonna get this, right?
Correct.
And did we have part-time employees during the pandemic? Any idea?
That's a good question. I know that quite a few of them were paid. I don't know, I wasn't here at the time. I don't know how the work was set up at
Okay,
that
can
time.
we check on that? And my other question, how come some of them, they get 1,000 and some they get 1,500?
So it was the public safety, we're getting 1,500 and all other was 1,000.
I think everybody deserves to get 1,000.
Council Chair,
Yeah.
I know the position was recently created for one of them, but what about our senior center directors?
One of them was just created, so she technically wasn't here in 2020.
Patty was with Berwin.
And Patty should definitely receive one.
Yeah.
Give me 1 minute.
And what are all the directors that haven't received it? I mean, are there any that are still employed? What kind of directors do we have?
They get grants and payouts?
They were forced to.
Council Chair, just want to remind you that there was, I have a resolution, a council resolution from December 4th, 2023, Resolution 23352, which basically calls for all general police and fire to receive 1,500.
Okay, that's
and
what it
everybody
was.
else to
Yeah.
receive 1,000. So that's the one.
Who was that resolution from?
Motion by Councilman Abdul Haq, seconded by Councilman Baidoon, and then it was all A's and no no's. So, yeah.
So I want you to know this,
I know
so this came as the Mayor Bilhazi's resolution. I'm glad that you brought this up. This was actually council, so we should, I mean, really, I'm just saying, like, I like to give recognition where recognition is due. The reality is,
I don't have a problem.
this should actually say, thank you, Councilman Abdul Haq.
Council Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
the resolution says that,
1,000 and 1,500.
wait a minute.
Yep.
Can't see, sorry. That this is for people who are on payroll during the period of COVID, which is from day one until the governor issued a statement that COVID was over. So I think even if the employees are no longer here, they deserve it because they worked during that time. And that's,
Unfortunately, a lot of these individuals left us for whatever reason. I understand that, but
but they were here
That's in the
during COVID.
resolution.
And that's in the resolution. We'd be in violation of the resolution that was passed by
How are
city
you going to
council.
track those people down?
I know you don't have their billing
Have
information.
them contact us.
Oh, they're going to know they're.
Come on, guys.
Well-
You're making it hard.
Yeah,
No, no. I'm
Make it
sure
fair.
it's not that hard.
Okay,
Most of the people, we know where they're at.
I believe we excluded the directors in the resolution.
Yep, because it's excluding all the elected officials.
Elected officials.
And,
Just elected officials,
Yeah,
just
we
not
got
direct officials.
Let's strike that part.
and it says for every employee who's on
Excluding
payroll
or
during the
elected.
same period and who are still employed by the city, including all the elected officials. Further, this motion is subject to ARPA regulations and guidelines.
Oh, so the
No, but the
says still
resolution
employed.
says that it's for every employee who was on payroll during the same period and who are still employed.
Yeah,
So not
so-
former
it's
employees,
not saying, it's who was and still employed.
employed.
But who was on it at that time?
No.
It does not, you're reading it
You're
wrong.
reading it wrong. It says for every employee who was on the payroll period
Still with us.
at the same time and who is still employed by the city.
One of the things
know
that we
what?
argued when we passed this resolution was, we're not giving it to anybody that already left us.
Well, let's see what Councilman Abdul Haq, how he meant this to be.
I mean, I
It's
was,
his resolution. How did you mean it? Did you mean that if they were on payroll at that time, or payroll now that we're, go ahead.
first of all, guys, just for the record, Mr. Abdul Haq, you would be going up through the council chair, and please, but I'm going to address the councilwoman real quick. It was actually stated how it was stated on this resolution, and it says, and I remember having this discussion, and if, now that we know it's the 24th, I can even go back and go home and look at this for you guys. We made it very clear that if anybody left us, they were not going to receive this.
And they should have put
And I
that in the
recall this,
resolution. They should-
like, I did not forget this conversation, but Mr. Abdul Haq, please continue.
Thank
Wasn't
you.
on the council at that time.
Thank you for allowing me to talk about it. You and I, we talked about it, and we agreed that we give $1,500 to the first responders, police,
Yep.
and $5,000 to all the employees who worked during COVID. Some people did not show up to work, and we asked the city, the mayor and the city attorney to give us a list by June, not today, by June, of all the employees who were on the payroll and who worked. Because lots of people didn't show up, but it is up to you. If you decide to give everybody who was on the payroll, it's up to you. Because it's very hard to know really who came to work and who didn't.
Definitely whoever came.
So
Well, yeah.
that's how it
Again,
was.
Mr. Abdul Haq, we still didn't get that list.
Council Chair?
I know you didn't. I asked for it many times, and it was promised that it will be prepared by June.
Council,
So
Thank you.
we live with what we have.
well, Mr. Abdul Haq is Council Chair.
Yes.
Through the chair. Well, Mr. Haq is, what Mr. Abdul Haq is saying is that employees that showed up to work, there was a lot of positions that people were sitting home and getting paid regardless. But the thing is also we had a lot of remote jobs at the time. What the resolution, reading it again, I just read it from beginning to end. What it says is, and it's clear, it says for every employee who was on the payroll during the same period, which every employee that was home was still on payroll.
Yes.
Because that was an order from the governor. But it says, and who is still employed with the city.
Yeah, so anybody that left, we should not be receiving it.
All right.
So because when the governor gave the orders to work from home, people were still getting paid.
I agree with you that everybody, for fairness, we agreed, I think, during the discussion that night, that everybody should receive it, so there is no distinguish between one or another or discrimination against one or another.
No, I agree. I just read this
Because we
again.
didn't know exactly who came to work in the building or on the street or not. So it is fair to give everybody $1,000 and $1,500.
Actually, Ali
for
Dee,
first
you
responders.
are on here. I think Cameron, you didn't, yeah, he is on here.
And Mr. Deeb isn't a director, he's an engineer, so he would technically qualify under it regardless.
He-
Now, what about the people who retired on their normal retirement time?
Anybody that retired on the regular retirement time, I think should still receive that.
That's part of what I was trying to
Yeah,
get
that-
at.
They're
that's-
technically
if
still
somebody just gets
employed.
up and leaves or what's
No,
up, you
I mean,
know?
that's what I was looking at, as for our retirees.
If it's a retirement individual, let's allow that retiree who worked during COVID to also be able to reap those benefits.
That's what I probably should have said in the first place.
Council Chair?
Yes,
Who makes
sir.
the determinations? I mean, say if someone was fired and seven of us up here think that they were fired falsely.
That's not up for us to decide.
I know, but I'm saying, who makes the determination about, retiree, if you're retired, you left voluntarily. But, I mean, I'm all for giving retirees this money too, but I mean, we got a
You know,
little
I
bit,
mean, you're
we
right.
got a little bit of legwork to
You
do.
know what, you're right. I don't know about that, because now you see, that's a great question, Councilman. That's actually a phenomenal question, because you know what that's gonna do to us? People are gonna start wanting to say, no, I retired, no, I did it, I was fired, or I did it, or I picked we gotta be careful on that, actually. So we might even have to think retirees we might not be able to offer that to them, because it might,
Well,
who
we can
says,
offer
who's to say you retired or you got fired? What if somebody says, I didn't like this new administration and I wanted to leave? Yeah, that
If
happens.
They
a
had enough time to
retiree-
retire, then they deserve it.
They
Because you have
retired,
to
they
work
retired.
So much
They
to
didn't get
retire.
fired, they retired.
I'm not disputing the retirees getting it, but I'm saying, we just determined that, retirees. Now, who's going to determine if this person said, hey, it was forced out behind the scenes somehow or something that maybe one of us know about why they left and.
You know, since it's here, did the former police chief technically retire? Was he eligible to retire?
Yeah.
That's actually a great question. Man, you know how to throw a twist in my mind, huh, Councilman?
Whatever's on their personnel records, I guess, right now as it sits.
I mean, I guess that's what we're gonna have, how we're gonna look at it.
You've got it on the personnel records, what the reason is they left. Either they walked
didn't work
out
for
or
no-
retired.
I'm just giving an example. He actually did. Yeah,
2020.
Oh,
2020, yes, he was still here. Or did he-
which one? Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
I'm not referring to Hart.
Oh, well then, yeah.
No, I'm,
Council Chair,
Yeah.
there was a director that recently separated from the city.
I mean, you could say it, Mr. Jamal.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, it's not hidden. There's no corporation council came here to tell us what we can and can't say, or mayor. I can't tell you. So, I mean, you can talk and say whatever you want. I mean, but obviously, we're not being protected.
Honestly,
I mean, you say it.
I think just with the retirees, it's going to get very technical, to be honest. Because who are you to say I retired or not?
yeah.
It's on the personnel record.
Right, so but how many people have retired in the past 3 years?
I'll have to look it up.
Honestly, I think the retiree thing might be a little too difficult. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I think, yes, they deserve it. A lot of whom which have retired, served 25, 30 years to receive a pension from us, whereas anybody that started in the new probably doesn't. I mean, well, either way, guys, we have to come up with some numbers on what we want to do for Tuesday so we can figure this out. ARPA funds are going to expire by the end of this month.
No, I agree. I think we should just, the list as it stands,
Council Chair, I've got to send a text message real quick, okay?
What is it?
I got to send a text message.
He's late.
Okay. You said there's 8 seasonal employees, correct?
Correct.
I mean, just speaking from professionally, how many times out of the year do seasonal employees work?
I believe those were mainly crossing guards, so, they work during the school year.
And they're only crossing guards? Those are the only people on seasonal? I just want to know.
I believe so. Yeah, it looks like they're all crossing guards.
Every single one of them?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I think our crossing guards definitely need to be recognized, and we've always praised saying we want our crossing guards. Yes, I think that's definitely needed here. I wish this would have been in like alphabetical order,
No.
because like instead of just throwing everybody in one, like this was so difficult. Can you do me a favor, when you get a chance, can you put this in alphabetical order so we can go through? I mean, I'm not worried about the positions. I'm more worried about the names in alphabetical order.
Absolutely.
Because like this was just like,
We need to double check about the part-time, if we had because somebody told me we had no part-time during the pandemic.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to
I'm not
dig
sure,
into
that's
that.
what somebody mentioned that to me. You worked?
that's more than enough for me.
The governor said no one could do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that time, none of my staff took any unemployment
Good.
during this time period. And they took extraordinary measures, and some of the staff, people's mothers, grandmothers, so don't think about
Thank you, Director.
Council Chair?
Look, when this was calculated, they gave it to you.
Yes. Okay, so the 306 has the part-time.
Can you step up to the microphone, Director, please?
So, yeah, we did have a number of part-time staff that, other than the specific time that the governor said everything shut down, almost everybody came back a few weeks even after that, and worked through extraordinary conditions, putting books under blue light, having all kinds of temperature checks at the building. We also worked here to do that. So it was more, there were a lot of part-time people that probably did work. And to my knowledge, no one collected unemployment. If there was, I didn't hear about it, because I usually have to sign off on it or get some kind of a win that had happened. As far as I know, no one did. So they worked pretty much through the pandemic all the way through until the governor had canceled the order. So I want to.
Council Chair, just for,
Guys, Councilman Ahmad does have to excuse himself. He had a dinner. I know Councilman Wenzel has to leave, and so does Councilwoman Menalowski Maxwell. So we want to keep this quick, brief,
Yeah,
and let's
just,
just wrap this up.
just brief. So so as our first responders, I was saying, the $1,500 for them, that was a resolution put. And I fully support that they get the $1,500 because they had to work regardless. And that was an order from the governor, so. Abdul Haq's, former Councilman Abdul Haq's resolution clearly states that they get the $1,500 and other city employees get $1,000. And again, this money has to be voted on before it expires this month, so. That's it?
Chair?
Yes.
Just one more monkey wrench before I leave.
Has anything to do with retirees? You threw me off.
Well, this resolution, or this motion was passed by city council unanimously on December 4th of 2023. And in the motion, it says, to all on the payroll during this time period and who are still employed by the city. And that's who was employed by the city in 2023, December 4th, when we passed this. So people that were employed on December 4th, 2023, technically are allowed this.
So then I guess we're gonna have to re-amend our motion.
Something. I mean, that's just something.
You're gonna have to, what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to amend that motion number 446, whatever it is, and then to adjust it to say, who are still employed up until 2024. We're just gonna have to change the year on that. You agree with me on that? Thank you.
Unfortunately, Council Chair, I've got to go. I got to go pick up a little guy.
Thank you. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and just open it up to the public now. I mean, it looks like, simply we're just gonna amend this, leave it the way it is. Send it back to all the council members in alphabetical order. Allow them to be able to do their own research, and we'll go from there. Thank you, Mr. Deeb. Next up, we're gonna open this up to the public for comments. I just also want to state for the record that both council members had to leave. I believe Councilwoman has to leave too, but she's kind of sticking around, so we appreciate you. Please, you have 2 minutes.
Mr. Baydun,
Please state your name, the city you reside in, and the street that you live on. Thank you.
Hassan, Dearborn, Michigan. Well, first of all, how much funds do you have in there? Can you answer my questions?
$10,679,275.
Okay. So now, 10 million can be used for police vehicles at this time. Mr. Saab, didn't you say last time that we need police vehicles?
This money is restricted funds.
It's restricted funds.
How's this restricted? Isn't $10 million you can use for,
No,
you cannot use $10 million of this money?
no, this is ARPA, it's restricted.
Okay, for what?
Infrastructure and pay the payroll to workers during the pandemic.
Okay, why are we waiting this long?
That's
Why
something,
wasn't the workers paid?
that's something you
Like,
gotta,
this is something like, you guys, this is terrible. I've never seen this.
1 year ago, we asked the administration.
1 year ago, and not, no, forget about 1 year ago.
I'm gonna pause your time. We actually requested this. Councilman Abdul Haq, former Councilman Abdul Haq requested this to
I was
give it to
here.
them so that they can enjoy their families during the holidays.
Yes.
That's what this was about,
And we're back here again
for the holidays.
for the holidays. And now we're trying to rush things. Rushing is not good, guys. Mistakes happen. But why is it brought now? Why is Ali Deeb bringing it? Ali Deeb's working everything. He's got his hands in the cookie jar everywhere you look at it. Let's be honest with each other. His hands is in the cookie jar everywhere you look. It's corruption here, guys. I'm being honest with you. If you're telling me otherwise, there's something wrong here. This is a corrupt system I see. He's in the houses. He's in the cement. He's here, he's there. Guys, this is a joke.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Can I pause your time? I pause your time. First of all, I want you to refrain from using words like corruption, please. I know you have the.
I'm not talking
free
about
speech.
you.
I know you're not talking about me, but
And I'm not talking about the council.
Can I
You guys
finish?
have done your job. Listen,
Can I finish? I paused your time, so let me speak for a second. I want you to refrain from saying things like he's corrupt, because unless you have those evidence, those are words that can be used against you.
Bring it on.
Number one. Number two, I can tell you right now, as someone, Mr. Deeb, this guy really does a lot of work and really busts his ass in the city. So like, regardless of his hands,
Okay.
I'm gonna continue your time.
Let's talk about the concrete. Now, the concrete was not approved. They wanted to approve people that has never done work ever again. Never done work. First contract is Dearborn Heights. Let me scratch my head. Does that make any sense here? Guys, something's going on. It's bigger than you think it is. He wants to take me to court for corruption. Go for it. This is the biggest corrupt department I've seen so far. I've never seen this. It's unbelievable. A year ago, guys, a year ago. And these employees haven't get paid. Why do you sit there? How many people got fired? How many people quit? Guys, think about it.
Thank you, Mr.
It's terrible.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Saab, please, fight the corruption.
We're trying, sir.
Anyone else from the audience? You can speak about anything you'd like.
Zoom.
Yep.
I always got to clean up the mess of this guy, I'm telling you. My name's Renee Myrna, and I live in Annapolis in Dearborn Heights. Okay, so, I asked him to be soft when he came up here. So I can tell you what you would have gotten if he hadn't have been soft, so.
He's got a new watch on.
He
He's
gave
a
you
little
the soft
excited.
one, yeah. I just want to say that I got the same warning feelings about what's going on here. You know, I don't know about corruption or whatever. All I'm saying is that something smells fishy, something doesn't smell right. Nobody has any information. It's general numbers again. It's general information. Nobody's done any homework to come with a solid, yes, you guys are prepared with what you know on your side. The thing that gave me the red flag was who made the proposal in the first place of where these funds would go. You know, I know that he had, he wrote it up, but like who decided to say who worked during COVID and still employed? That was a big one for me, because if those people worked during COVID, they deserve that money. Whether they quit, moved on, nowadays things are moving fast, everybody moves on. Family members died, they had to move. You can't decide just because they had to quit or move that all of a sudden they don't get the COVID funds when they worked during COVID. So whoever wrote that up, I have issue with that right there. And just the fact that Mr. Wenzel, when he was talking to you, and all of a sudden you had that aha moment that there's something not right in there about the retirees. That's what I'm talking about when I came up earlier about God giving you wisdom, that stuff is going to bubble up, that somebody will make a comment and it'll spark something that needs investigation. And I appreciate you saying that you were going to pause it for a while, or whatever that word was, that you're going to look into it and reword it. And strongly the part "and still works at the city," so that people that worked in 2024 are getting the money that the people that came during COVID and risked their lives to come during COVID, they're going to get the same benefit. You know, I
Well, no,
hope
they would have
yes.
to have been from during COVID to now.
Yeah.
So, because it says from COVID to 2023, we needed to amend it to say from COVID to present day. Because what the initial resolution stated was anybody that started working during COVID to present time. So when we said present time, at the time when he wrote it up a year ago in 2023, in December of 2023, actually 1 year ago, December 4th, 2023, here we are, December 4th, 2024. It would just so happen that 2023, December 4th landed on a Tuesday a year ago, it's landing on a Wednesday, and we just happened to have a special meeting or a study session on December 4th. So it's been exactly 365 days.
But the only thing I was saying is that these people that work during COVID are being put on the same level as the people that just came in the last few months, or 2023 or 2024.
No. They would not get it.
As long as they worked during COVID.
Yes, so if you worked during COVID up until now, you're gonna receive it. If you came in 2022 and you're still here, you're not going to receive it. You weren't here during
The
COVID.
resolution was for 2023, they're just updating it to 2024.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'm still new at this, but the only thing that I would be concerned with is that word "and," that Mr. Hassan Saab was stating there. I think whoever wrote that didn't think about what they were writing and whether it was the intention of saying that these people couldn't move their jobs if they wanted that money. They had to stay where they were at for the next so many years. Thinking that's a little bit unfair with how COVID worked. So I asked that you might reconsider just that word "and" still with the city.
Thank you.
So, thanks.
Appreciate you. Anyone else from the audience?
Just to explain, sorry, Zuhair Abdulhaq, Dearborn Heights. Well, when we wrote this resolution, the intention was the people who were working up to that date, to that, time we approved that resolution. After that, whether they stayed or not, it doesn't matter. But the people, when we approved on that night that resolution, those are the people who will get paid.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The problem is they still did not pay the.
Next, nothing from the audience, please. Next up, we have Mr. Tim Emery. You have 2 minutes. Please state your name, the city you reside in, and the street that you live on.
Tim Emery, Eaton Street, Dearborn Heights. Please consult your legal counsel to make sure you got your I's dotted and your T's crossed, so you don't have this to come back and bite you in the, you know where.
Thank you.
I mean, that's what they're for.
Thank you. Our actually, Corporation Counsel is not here today,
Well,
surprisingly.
we'll have a phone call.
Yeah.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, Tim. Next up, we have iPhone. Please state your name, the city you reside in, and the street that you live on, please.
Hassan Jamal, State of Michigan.
You have 2 minutes.
ARPA funds are eligible to buy police cars. It's being used in cities around you in Detroit. I don't know who's giving you wrong and false information about ARPA. I gave it to you in the past. Look at my emails. ARPA funds are eligible. Call Detroit, and you know that police cars, I just want Honorable Councilman Hassan Saab to correct his statement. It's not only for infrastructure. It's only for infrastructure for the people who want to benefit from contract for infrastructures. Of course, they're going to sell you that. Please check the information. You guys hired a company responsible for ARPA. Where is it? Why it's not being consulted? So far, we paid $70,000 for LMN, whatever the company is. Why is not being consulted to give you an opinion about what the Honorable Hassan Saab wants to do for the police? They are the guard of our society. And if they need cars, equipment, please consider that. Because for waterman lines and other things, it can be supported by property taxes. It can be supported by water. It can be supported by bond. But for police equipment and cars, how are you going to get that? You can't issue bond for that. So I church and I kudos to Councilman Hassan Saab and you and others who are, do whatever they can to beef up the police force.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
have a great day. So please consider that, Mr. Saab.
Mr. Jamal, I will look into that, and I will. And if it is available, that's something that I would definitely consider doing. But I will look into it, and I will.
Thank you,
You got my
guys.
word.
Do we seeing anyone else in the audience? Anyone else on Zoom? Seeing none, meeting is done. Have a great night.